Hi there, this is Luise Heinzel. Welcome to my channel Junk Journal Art. Nice to see you here again. Or if you are new here, I want to say a very warm welcome. So, welcome to my channel. I know there are many people who found my channel in the last few weeks, and I really appreciate all of you who are new here, and of course, all of you who are watching me for a longer time. I'm so happy. Yeah, okay, let's start. Today I would like to make some snippet rolls out of the leftover pieces that I have here on my desk. So this is another episode of my Ocean Eyes Junk Journal series. As you can see, here is my Ocean Eyes Junk Journal. If you have never heard about this, then please check out the info box. I have a whole playlist how I made this journal from start to finish for you so that you can craft along or have some questions answered about making a junk journal. Out of camera, I made these little things here. I made those little dangles. I have some of these coins here. I thought that would fit really well to this ocean theme because, those coins can be found on the ground of the ocean. So that was my thought behind that. I also have some seahorses and some starfishes and that stuff. All of these are, some kind of little charms. And I thought it would look really elegant on that part of this book. But today I want to make something special. That shall be something like those, I would say, you call it those finishing touches. I need some pockets, some belly bands, some tuck spots and that stuff. I don't have very much of those elements in my journal until now, but I also want to have something really special, really outstanding, and that looks like a piece of art. So I'm going to make some snippet rolls today out of the rest here, the leftover materials that you can see here on my table. A snippet roll is nothing else than a roll out of scraps. So perhaps you have never heard about that. You can glue or sew your whole scraps that you have all together. And the good thing about this is if you make that out of your leftovers, then you have the matching colors the colors that match your journal. At the same time, you will have no problems with choosing the colors or whatever. So I will explain that in a second in a little bit more detailed way. So first of all, I'm going to separate those longer strips of papers that I have from the tinier pieces. I want to have something like an order on my desk before I start gluing. So that's a little bit time consuming, but I think it's worth it because in the end you can just grab the things and glue or sew them together. And you can, of course, also use not only scraps, but bigger pieces, like, for example, this book page. So this book page hasn't managed it to become part of my junk journal. But, of course, you can use such things as well. I like this because it has the right colors. Of course, it has the right colors. I've dyed it before. I wanted it in my journal, but then, there are those leftover things that you always have. But for those projects like these snippet rolls, it's really great to have something like that because, you have the matching colors, you have the material, and you will have no problems with this whole thing. Okay, so here you can see I have all these longer strips. In this case, for this snippet roll, I don't want to have my roll in the end too junky and too scrappy. I want to have this rectangle shape, and I don't want to have the scraps peeking out to the frame there from the scraps. Oh my goodness, I think this sentence doesn't make sense, but I think in a few seconds you will see what I mean. So first of all, I'm gluing all of these rectangle shapes together. I'm using a normal glue stick for that. Of course, you can also use some double-sided tape or whatever, or some how is that called? This Mod Podge thing, or everything that glues would work. And when I have glued all these things together, then I start on the beginning of my, little roll here, and I'm starting layering the other pieces on top of this base. So what I made in the beginning is only, a base that I can use to glue the things on. And here you can also see this rectangled shape that I don't want to come out with my strips. So I'm just making a voiceover over my German video here. So I'm sure that I will show you in a second what I'm doing here. So it's a little bit strange because I don't hear what I said in German. So sorry. Here I'm showing it. Look at this piece. If I would glue it, I would like to glue it like so and not that it's overlapping over this original thing, this space. But of course you can glue that like you want it, and you can make whatever you want. But for my project I need some rectangle shapes for my pockets and belly bands and that stuff later, because it's much easier to handle if you have a rectangle. If I'm finished with this first layering, I'm here at the end of my snippet roll, and now I'm starting again. And I'm going from the end back to the start. And now I'm layering again, but I'm using much smaller scraps here to make this whole thing a little bit more detailed, more filigrane, and to don't have these really, these really big things on my snippet roll. I'm also trying to glue my scraps there where the other scraps are meeting. Like here, for example, I like to break these areas where the single pieces are meeting, so that there will be a really interesting layering in the end. And for this, I'm using, much smaller scraps so that it gets more filigrane. Here you can see I have finished that step, and now I'm going to my sewing machine. And I want to sew around this whole thing. Of course, you don't have to use a sewing machine. If you probably don't have a sewing machine, you can also take some stamps that imitating this stitching. There are those stamps that have these zigzag stitch and a normal stitching on them. That would also be possible. Just take a color of your choice, in ink of your choice, and stamp around that. Or if you want to sew but you have no sewing machine, of course you can also do that by hand, but of course that would take a really long time to do that. So I'm really glad that I have my sewing machine here. And now I will go around this whole thing, and I also have the chance now to pick some more things, some more tiny bits and pieces, and I can sew them here in one step. So if I want to have some more things, I just take them from my stash or from the table around me. So I'm using the things that are laying around me, and I take this and put that directly under the foot of my sewing machine, and then I sew over it, and it's fixed on top of this thing. For this top layer, it's, I think, a really good idea to use some eye-catching things, like some tickets or some fuzzy cut images, some die cuts or whatever gives you a little bit more interest to this top layer. Now this whole thing is really long, as you can see, and normally if I would not record this video, I would roll it and store it in my stash after I have finished this whole thing. But to show you this a little bit better, I cut this into those little pieces here so that you can see in the camera what I'm doing, so that you don't see only this one thing, but that I can show you more things at once. Oh my goodness. Excuse me, please. So if you want to make this and roll it up so that it's a snippet roll and not a snippet strip, then of course you can leave this thing in one piece. But here I would like to show you some other techniques that you also can use for your own projects. And I, of course, want to show you that in the most detailed way. So I have cut this so that you can see everything in the frame. So what am I doing here? I don't know. I think I'm searching for some stamps and some ink, because if you now want to make this a little bit more interesting, then you can also use some stamps, of course. If you look at this, you probably think, oh, that's really confusing for the eye. It's really much what's going on here. It will be much more in a few minutes. But I want to point out that you will not see this whole thing in the journal later in one place, of course. And I would like to encourage you to try different things like stamping or stenciling or probably embossing, or you could run this through your embossing machine and make this structured paste, structured textured paper, you know what I mean. You can try out really different things now when you have this base. And don't be shocked about this look now. If you have done that for the first time, or you have probably never done it, you think, oh my goodness, what is she doing? This is way too much. But please try this out and try to make these little areas a little bit more filigrane, and later on you will see that this is such a gorgeous thing for your journal, and you will have a really easy job to create some really beautiful things in your journal. So I'm using these stamps that I have used in my journal on several pages for several other techniques, and I'm using the same stamps here to bring this context. Probably it's only a tiny thing to recognize, but if you recognize it, then it will be something like, oh wow, she made some thoughts about that. Here I have this blue thing, and I don't know how this is called in English. It's some kind of a paste that is water soluble. You can mix it with water or use it as a paste. I seriously sorry, but I don't know the English word for that, and I haven't found it on the Amazon.com. I only can find it on the German version of Amazon. So I think if you come from overseas, you will not have access to this, but you can of course use a normal structure paste made out of marble dust and white gesso, for example, and then you can color that with other acrylics, or you can use an already colored acrylic paint and mix it with some gesso, some clear gesso, and you will have a really cool structure paste as well. If you want to have it a little bit thicker, use some baby powder, some marble dust or whatever to make your own structure paste, or use what you have or what you have used in your journaling process, the process of making the journal before. So that's the reason why I'm using this blue paste, because I have used this on some of the pages, some of the embellishments as well. And I'm using the same stencil that I have used during the journal making process as well. I'm doing that for the same reason that I use those stamps for, because I want to have this pattern of the stencil recognizable in the journal. And even if it's only really abstract here, and you will see only a few spots of this stencil, you will recognize it and you will see, oh, that's the same stencil she has used over and over again. And this gives your journal this harmonious feeling, I would say. If you have some structure paste, or in this case this blue paste here on your palette knife, and you think, oh, it's probably a little bit too much, of course you can do it like so and press the palette knife here and there. Then you have some of this blue that looks really interesting. It's not the stenciled image, you know, but it gives it this kind of interesting thing. This looks really blue, I know, but I'm not finished. And I want to do some more crazy things. So let's take some gesso. This one I have watered down. When this bottle was nearly empty, I have filled it up with water so that I have my really thin gesso every time at hand. And here I'm trying to put it to my snippet roll pieces directly out of this bottle. So that was probably not the best idea. And I thought, oh, it's a little bit too much, a little bit too, too rough, I would say. So I need some more tinier splatters. But I think in some of these areas that can look really great in the end, and you will see, for my opinion, it's always a question of your personal opinion, but in my eyes it looks really cool in the end. So in the next step I'm trying to get some tinier splatters. So I take a brush and I'm just splattering around a little bit. And this contrast between these bigger splatters and the smaller ones is really great, I think. So in the end, I was really happy that I first tried to put this out of directly out of the bottle to my paper, because now, it's a really cool mix out of these different sizes of the splashes. And by the way, this brush, it looks a little bit funny, but it's really, really helpful. So I got this from Barbara from 49 Dragonflies. She has sent that to me as a gift. So Barbara, if you're watching, thank you very much again for this brush. I'm really happy to have this because it's really easy to make some tinier splatters as well. What you can't see in the camera, but I would like to mention it so that you probably get a little bit into my little world. When I splattered these white splashes, I had everything on my iPad. My iPad is standing directly next to my workspace so that I can see on my iPad what I'm filming. I'm mirroring my phone, my video recording program with the iPad, and in between I had to clean the whole screen of my iPad. Probably you know those problems, and if you know that, you know you are not alone. So okay, let's go on here. What I have here is something really, really crazy. I got a happy mail from a German junk journal friend, and first of all, I thought she is hating me really, really much, because she sent me a plastic bag, I mean a little bag, with some gold glitters and really tiny blue and red and golden pieces. You can see them there in my palette, and these are so tiny, and I thought, why not putting those to the gesso and trying to let them stick in the wet gesso, and when it's dried, then probably everything is sticking there. That worked really well. I had a really big mess afterwards on my table because some of those little things they fly away. They have flown away. I don't know the past of fly. Oh my goodness. When I dried that, some of these pieces fly away, and I had some cleaning things to do after that process, but it looks really cool. And in the very end, I have sealed those areas where the tiny pieces are sticking with some Mod Podge so that they can't fall off when they are in the journal. And here I'm using some ink. This is the refiller of the Distress Oxide Vintage Photo. I have used this ink for dyeing my lace on the cover as well, and I wanted to have this color on my snippet roll as well. And here I'm using this Distress ink Forest Moss, also directly out of this refiller bottle. That's also a color that I have used for dyeing the lace on my cover, and I wanted to try to get this mix of this greenish color and the brown here on my snippet roll as well. I made some drops here and there, and after that I took a water spraying bottle and I've sprayed that a little bit so that the ink can run over the paper. So don't know what I'm doing here in my German video. Where is the water bottle, Luise? Spritz the water, please. Where is it? I don't know. Oh my goodness, sorry. Ah, okay, so here I'm coming back with the water bottle. I think it was empty and I had to fill it up. Here, you know probably that I'm on a campsite, so I have a caravan with, yeah, some kind of a tiny house where I'm doing my crafty things, and I'm living here also in the summer and mainly in the summer. Sometimes in the winter I'm also here to record some videos and that stuff, and I always have a little problem with water, because if my water is empty I have to go a few steps to the little house there near my caravan and get some water. So that's always a little bit some kind of a problem. Also when I want to wash my brushes or my stencils, I always have to run to this little house there. And the people always are looking really, really, really strange to me, because the most of them, of course, are washing their dishes in this house. And I often have to say, yeah, some people wash their dishes and I'm washing my brushes and my stencils. Okay, so after this whole thing is dry, it looks like this. I'm really happy with it, because now it's much more vintage. And much more like those things that are in the journal. And now I would like to show you how you can use these things to decorate your journal, but not only decorating the journal, but also creating some places here and there where you can store, for example, ephemera or postcards, photos, letters, or whatever. Some areas where you can journal and also make this hidden journaling in some of these examples. So the first thing I would like to do is to make a belly band here on this page. I think that would look really great, especially with this ledger paper in the background. This blue on the ledger paper matches the blue on the snippet roll really well. And now you can just take a piece of your snippet roll and make the belly band out of it. But if you look here, you can see this is a really straight edge. But I also want to make it, that you can use it really good in the end. And if you want to put something behind this belly band, can you see this ticket here where my finger is now? When you want to put something behind, then this could be a little bit not so handy. It could be probably in the way when you want to put something behind. So I would like to back this snippet roll piece that I'm just cutting here with another piece of paper, so that it gets a little bit wider and that the edges are really nice to put something behind. You will see that in a second. In a second that will make sense. So here you can see that I've taken one of the pages from my Ocean Eyes printable. I've cut it into size, and then I have sewn my snippet roll piece directly to that paper, so that I have a really nice edge on the left and the right side now. And now I can see if this fits. It's a little bit too long because I haven't measured anything. Always when I'm measuring, I do it with my eyes, but it's no problem. I can just cut this here and make it the right size, and then I can take some glue and glue it down. I'm gluing this here only on the top and the bottom of this piece, because I want to put something behind. So if you want to make a belly band and you don't know, probably you don't know what's a belly band, if you are new to junk journaling, if you glue a piece of paper like so on the top and the bottom, then you can put something behind, and that's called a belly band. So you can do that horizontally, like here. No, not like here. You can do that vertically, like here, or of course you can also do that horizontally. Some of you have asked me which glue I use to glue such pieces. If I have some embellishments for my junk journal, which glue do I use? In the very beginning of my junk journal journey, I have always used bookbinders glue. I have filled it into a little bottle, and that's the same bottle that you can see here in the video, and I've used that. I'm really, really happy with bookbinders glue. And then something in my mind changed. I have used some glue sticks in between, some Fabri-Tac 3-in-1 glue, and all that crazy stuff. But now I'm back to bookbinders glue because, yeah, it just sticks very, very good. And it dries really fast, and yeah, paper on paper, for that it's really fine. So I'm telling you that because some of you have asked me which kind of glue I use. So let's see, what can we do here? So I really like this page. It's really vintage, and I think it can get a little bit, yeah, some kind of a color highlight. I have this little thing here. You can see this triangle. That's a tuck spot out of my, some of my, no, how is that said? This is a tuck spot from one of my other printables. So that's what I wanted to say. I had that left over, and as you can see, I've sewn it to my snippet roll. This is a little bit strange because of the gesso. It's not so open at that one end, so it's a little bit sticky there, but I think we can manage to use it in some way. For that, I just cut it here, and I try yeah, to see how that would look on this page. The plan is to make a tiny tuck spot there where this blue triangle is, and a bigger one behind this whole snippet roll piece. When I had cut this and I put that here to my page, I thought, this is a little bit really, really blue. I thought about putting that piece to the top, but here I made a page connection out of an old book page, and that looks a little bit strange with this shape of this page connector. So I decided that I want to have it somewhere else, and then I came to the idea to put this thing to this page. On the left side, you can see there's some blue. On the right side, there's no blue until now, so it's a really good idea to put that there to get this connection of the colors in between of those both pages. I have a pocket there that's, yeah, some kind of a double pocket. You can put something behind there. You can see this little card. But now I have, I think, a pocket here, here, and also here. Yeah, perhaps it's not a pocket, but it's some kind of a tuck spot where you can put something in. On this page, I would like to make a pocket. And I think this turquoise on the left side of this snippet roll looks really, really interesting in combination with this turquoise paper in my journal on the left-hand side. So I decided to take this piece, and this already looks like a pocket, but I think it's way more interesting when we place it on top of a coffee dyed paper. So I've just sewn that. And I've left here a little bit more of the paper so that I can fold this to the back side now. That makes this opening slot of the pocket much more sturdy. You have a very easy job to put your things in and out if you glue this. So I like to do that with the most of my pockets that are made out of normal paper, for example, or really thin paper, fragile book pages or that stuff. I like to fold that one or sometimes even 2 times and then glue that so that it's really sturdy. For gluing this, I've used a glue stick. That's, I think, the easiest way to apply glue to such a surface. And the pocket itself, I've glued with bookbinders glue as well. And now this looks really cool. Now you can put something in here, in this bigger pocket, and something, of course, not such a big piece. This is only for demonstration, but you can put something tinier into here. A tag, for example, or a little journaling card. Then we have this strange page here. So this page comes from a book that's all about gold. There is some information about where gold comes from, how is it used, and some really historical things about gold. The pictures in this book were matching my theme really, really well, but this backside was, I didn't like this backside. It's also some kind of a glossy paper, and I'm not so happy with glossy paper in my journal. So I tried to cover this with something else and use my snippet roll for this plan as well. I have taken this white and blue scrapbooking paper. It's a little bit thicker, so that I can use that to back my snippet roll as well. Here, probably you can see what I wanted to say or tried to explain in the beginning. If you look at the colors here, you can see this green here. That's here as well, because it's the same ink. I made this paper with the same ink. And the pattern of the stencil is also the same, and this matches really well now. Even if it's, only a piece that you have cut off from your snippet roll, it matches really well. Here I made the frame of my, what am I making out of this? I think a belly band as well. Yes, I'm gluing it on the top and the bottom. I sewed around a little bit more extremely and more visible to show you a way to make some variations with your sewing as well. Of course, you can sew around this whole piece of scrapbooking paper and not only sewing the snippet roll to the scrapbooking paper. That's of course possible. So try out different things and play around also with your sewing machine a little bit. This page is also a little bit strange. The writing is not the problem, but this yellow thing. Can you see on this map there on the left side, there's a really, really extreme yellow, and I tried to find a way to cover that up. So I also took some things from my table, so everything that's laying around there is useful for this project, of course. If you are following this series, you probably know that I also tried to figure out some organization ideas for my desk while I'm making a junk journal. So I thought really much about all those problems that you have while you are making a junk journal. Not only this finding inspiration problem, but also this I want to use something, but I can't find it. I don't want to break my creative process by going to my shelf and searching for a special paper. So in this case, while I made this journal, I had everything that I probably want to use on my desk. Every blue paper from my stash was on my desk. Everything that seems to be matching this journal was on my desk, and that was really helpful. When I made this, especially those finishing touches, they have to be special. You want to have something that matches the rest really well. And if you have this on your table and you only have to grab it, then it's really, really helpful. So please try that out. Probably you are someone who is always going to his shelf and searching for something. Try to pick all the things that could match your journal and put them to your desk. Even if you think, oh, this brush colored paper, this is a brush colored watercolor paper, looks really blue and really extreme, please put it to your table and try to look at it while you are making your journal. Then you are coming to the most amazing ideas. So of course that's a personal opinion if an idea is outstanding or that stuff. But for me and my personal growing, it was really, really helpful. As you can see here, I'm trying to punch a circle out of my snippet roll, and I only made that because I have this paper clipped to the other page there, and I thought here has to be a circle. if I would sit in front of my naked page, I probably wouldn't come to this idea to make this like so. And that's what I want to say. Probably that makes sense to you. Here, I've punched that out of the sewn snippet roll. Of course, you can see these little damages on the circle. I've just teared it out of my punch because I wanted it like that. Of course, you can also cut it and cut the thread that your punch can't cut. But I think this optic is really cool in combination with the rest and with this ocean eyes theme. I took a piece of that blue page that I have in the background and put it behind this circle to get, yeah, some kind of a context as well. This blue page, this, the blue page on the first layer. This is a really fragile page from a really old book. But I decided to glue it there completely because I know if I would not use it now, it will be back in my stash and I will never use it because the color would not match the rest of my projects or whatever. This blue is a really special one, and that's also a point. Use what you have on your table and try to use also all those jelly prints, all those pre-dyed papers that you have prepared. Try to use them. It sounds so strange and so weird, but I think if you put that back into your stash and you don't use it in your actual project, you will never use it. Probably you know this problem. Also here, I have put this card in here. I have this card in my stash forever. Because of the colors, I have never known for what project I can use it. But here, it seems to make this both pages connect each other. This marbling here looks a little bit like water and waves. The colors are matching really well. But I think something tiny blue is missing here. Something is missing here. It looks much blue on the top of these both pages, and here I'm just searching for a really tiny piece and I couldn't find it, but I had it in my hand there on the left side there where this finger is showing. I searched for it and I couldn't find it even if I had it in my left hand. Yeah, okay, so here it is. So that piece I was searching for, but I thought it is probably a little bit too blue. This blue on this piece of the snippet roll is really extremely, but I thought probably we could attach something here. As you can see, I've used this clip stamp there. It has this I think it's called bulldog clip on it, and it seems to be perfectly if there is something that looks like it is clipped there. I've decided to use this piece of the snippet roll after a few minutes of thinking about it, because this piece of the ticket on the snippet roll has this orangey red color that I have on the right page as well. So I thought it could be great to have a connection there as well. The white page on the left side is teared, so I mean on the bottom, so I decided to tear my snippet roll as well. That's possible. You only have to cut the threads from your sewing machine with some scissors, and yeah, then you have such a little piece. And I think this looks really, really cute. I really love this, and I really love how this came out. So probably I can ask a question at this point. So have you made those experiences as well, that you take the tiniest pieces that are laying around on your table and you use them and you are so thrilled about that? That looks so cute. So please write a comment. What do you think about this? Are you doing this? Are you do you probably have some ideas for me how to use all those tiny pieces as well? So that would be really interesting. What I have to say for this special things here with my snippet roll and those tiny pieces that I've sticked with the gesso, I went over all of the pieces of the snippet rolls that I've used, in my journal with some Mod Podge in the end, so that I have sealed all of these tiny bits and pieces really well so that they can't fall off when you use the journal later. That's probably, some kind of a tip or an idea how you can also use those tiny things like these, in German we say Streuartikel. So that means all those items, tiny items that you can sprinkle over your projects with some glue. I think it's a good idea to seal them later, because of course you want to use the journal, you want to write and work in it, and that would probably be a problem when you turn the pages and flip through your journal. You don't want to have these pieces, that you don't want that they fall off. So sealing is always a good idea with these tiny things. Here on this page, I really like this combination of the white with the writing on top with this white book page. And the other thing that you can see on the right side is the flip of an envelope. I have this gel print on top and the original color of the envelope. That's some eco-dyed paper that I made the envelope from. The envelope is on the other page. So yeah, probably that makes sense. And here I'm trying something. I came to that idea when I've teared this tiny piece that I've used before. So look at this. I have this slot in between, but the single pieces are held together by the thread of my sewing. And I thought probably I can make some kind of a special belly band out of this and let it look like it is teared but still connected. So I'm tearing this not on top of my journal, so that's because all of these tiny pieces could probably fall off. There are some of these these tiny things. When you tear this, you have sometimes a little bit of a problem. The structure paste can come off a little bit, but that's good. It looks like it looks junky and it looks really interesting in the end. But don't do that on top of your journal, because otherwise you have all those little things in between of your pages. So now this thing looks like this, and here I'm trying to figure out the length, how that can be here on my page. I'm just taking my scissors and cut it to the right length. So right in my eyes, so that it can go here all over this page from the top to the bottom. And I think that looks really interesting, especially with the gel print and the other elements that are showing through this teared things. And now I thought if I would like to put a paper behind this belly band later, then I could probably have a problem with those threads. That's the reason why I took this to my sewing machine again, and I've just sewed over these little gaps. So I don't know if that is expert sewing technique. Probably not, but it worked. Now these little threads in between of the single pieces are much more sturdy than they were before. I think I will show you that in detail in a second. Don't know what am I doing here. Sometimes it's so difficult to make a voiceover over a video. Even if you have recorded the video a few hours ago, you can't remember what you have done. So here we go. Here you can see that in detail. So this is much more strong now. I've just sewn over that so that I have this little connection with the thread here. And I think this should be sturdy enough to glue it on the top and the bottom and have the pieces in between loose so that you can put something behind. So I'm taking this top piece first, and I'm taking some bookbinders glue for this gluing here as well. Probably double-sided tape would be also a great idea for this, but I haven't thought about that. That would be, of course, much easier. And especially with the sewing, it could probably be an easier job to to glue that with double-sided tape. I've first glued only the top piece to see how that can be managed and to not have accidentally some glue in the areas where I don't want it. So I've first fixed the top part, and then I took the bottom piece, only this last piece of this snippet roll thingy, and put some glue there as well and glued that down. When you glue this down, you have to make sure that the top piece and the bottom piece are far enough away from each other so that the loose pieces here in the middle don't come off too much from your page. If there's too much space in between the pieces and the page, that would probably be not so nice when you flip the pages. Since I have sewn over this thing again to make the thread a little bit sturdier, it can be a great idea to add a bulb pin. And I think I've learned a new word, how you call these pins. I always thought it's bulb pin, but someone said another word to this. And now I can't remember it. I don't know, but you can, of course, take any kind of these, is it called safety pins? Or whatever you have. Even a paper clip would work to bring that around. Put a little charm on the end, and look at this. I think I really like that. And I've never expected that I would use this gold in my journals so often one time. But yeah, I think now it's the time to use gold. It's really strange. I've never expected that. When I started junk journaling, I thought, oh, okay, gold is nice, but it's not my color. But now I'm really obsessed with gold. So here I have this beautiful playing card. It has this wonderful dragonfly on it and this water scene. It looks really, really great. And even if this is probably not an ocean-themed card, I would like to include that here. I have some other elements, for example, those birds on the right side. This is an Edith Holden page on the right side, that are not this typically ocean thingies. You know, those birds would probably not be in an ocean theme, but I wanted to try something different for this journal and combining some unusual things. And that's the reason why I have birds there and why I also use this dragonfly that's on the water, even if it's not an ocean picture. To make a pocket here to store this playing card, I've just taken another piece of my snippet roll and sewed it to this straw paper to make the pocket. And I've decided to flip the rest of this paper to the other page. I think that matches the colors of the other page really well. It looks a little bit more interesting than just gluing the pocket, as usual. Now I can put this playing card inside, and I think it needs something bigger in the background. This blue card fits really well to the colors of the playing card, so I decided that I want that as a journaling card in this pocket. And on this other piece on the other side, I've just decided to put something interesting there as well. And that's a great way to use up all those tiny pieces that you have left over from the snippet roll. You can also use some leftover pieces of lace and that stuff and just make a little decoration. And I think, for me, that makes a really big difference. On this page, I think we could do something as well. Here in this area of the book, it's some kind of naked until now. So I just came to the idea that I could use the piece of the snippet roll where I had punched out this circle. And why not using the piece that is left over from the punching. So yeah, we have a hole here now. And why not using it? Why not making a really interesting thing for this page? So I've decided to make another belly band here. Of course, you could also use that to make a tuck spot or a belly band in the other direction, or a pocket, or just glue it down like it is. But for this journal, I thought that these vertical belly bands look really great, and I really liked my snippet roll in this vertical way. But of course, you can do it as you want it. For this, I've just taken another piece of my printable paper so that the colors match the rest of the pages. And I've just, put it behind this snippet roll because, there where I've punched the circle, the paper of the snippet roll is, of course, really filigrane on the left and the right-hand side. So I wanted to make it really sturdy. And now you can do some journaling here. You can use this circle for writing a caption or writing a date, writing a special quote, or whatever you want. Just a single word that matches the rest of your journaling in this area of the book would be really great. And I really like those tiny things that you can later on enjoy when you are working in your journal. That's really important for me to have those tiny areas. So hopefully that makes sense. Here, I'm trying to cover this crazy colors and that stuff of this book page. On the other side of the page, there are some birds, and I wanted to have this page from the bird book in my journal. But of course, these colors are not so great, so I'm doing the same trick here, and I'm just gluing a piece of my snippet roll here on top. Will this be a belly band again, or what am I doing here? Yeah, I think so. Oh, excuse me, please. Oh no, this will become a pocket, I think, because I'm gluing it here on the side as well. And I think these snippet rolls are a really, really great thing to cover up all of those some kind of ugly areas in your journal. The writing of the book page is okay for me. It makes the whole thing interesting. You can see this is a junk journal. It's made out of different book pages, out of different kinds of papers. That's great to see. But if the colors don't match, that's not so nice. And a snippet roll is a really good thing to cover that up. You have not only covered the colors that are not matching, but you have at the same time something that's matching the rest, because you have used the scraps and pieces, all those leftover bits and pieces from your table, and of course that is matching. It's a fact, because if you use what you have on your table, it must match. There's no other chance. The colors will fit together perfectly, and I think that's the best thing to say about a snippet roll. Okay. In this journal, I have to fix some problems like gluing some pockets and that stuff. Some tiny things are here still that I have to do. In the very near future, I will show you the finished journal. So if you are interested in a flip through, then please stay tuned, follow my channel, follow my videos. There will be a flip through of this whole journal very soon. Many of you have asked me about that. Of course, I will do that, and I will show you the finished thing. I hope you enjoyed this little idea with the snippet roll. I hope you will make some by your own and enjoy this process as much as I did. Hopefully we will see the next time. Stay crafty, stay healthy. Bye bye.